Live. All right. We should be live now. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome back to another The Not So Fashion Talk Show. I have somebody here today to talk about transformation, yoga, and most likely, it seems like we're going to be talking about a lot about rock and roll here. And I would like to introduce Joshua. Please introduce yourself a little bit so we can get this party started.
Hey, man. First and foremost, I'm a musician. I'm a guitar player. I'm a vocalist. I'm a one-man band. I do stuff under the name Mastemah, Mastemah. You can look it up. We got stuff on Bandcamp, on Instagram, which is how we met, fortunately. I mean, outside of that, dude, I'm a yoga teacher. I am a former CrossFit trainer. I am man, what else do I do? I'm a teacher. I teach little kids how to play guitar, bass, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I coordinate lessons in studio over at this place called School of Rock, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes, I actually went to School of Rock at 39 years old.
That's amazing.
I had just quitted my third college because I was like, college is not for me. Fuck that. I finally got to terms with that. And I joined School of Rock.
Oh yeah, man. Adults, man. We have everybody in their 60s. It doesn't matter, dude. Everybody from 5 years old to 65 years old. Everybody's welcome, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And the transformation, you want to talk about transformation I've seen in kids just from like coming in being real shy, not so sure of themselves, being up on the stage, you know what I mean? Performing like what we would consider, I guess, the classics, right? It's just awesome, man. It makes things a lot. It makes things worthwhile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I do a lot of things, man. I try and keep myself busy because if not, the mind plays tricks. You know what I mean? So like I said, I try and create as much as possible. Some of my rules for doing this project are like not to second guess myself. Whatever kind of riffs or ideas come out of the ether, you know what I mean? I let it fly, and then I kind of, instead of dismissing it or saying, hey, no, that might not work, or this isn't going to go well, or whatever, I stick with it and try and develop it and stick it out, man. And so far I've got quite a few songs. The EP is going to just be 4 because a couple of them turned really long. I try and, I don't know how you write, man, but for me personally, I try and keep things under like 3 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Just as a general rule, 3 minutes is like pretty long, but there's a couple of songs that are like 5 and change, which is new for me.
Well, mine is a little punk, so it's kind of like a minute and a half, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I have one song that is like 220 BPMs, and it's like about 59 seconds.
On some Napalm Death, that's some grindcore stuff right there, man. It's great. So I was doing vocals in a band from Delaware called Scout Porter, where it was very grindish. It was like a combination of like black metal and grindcore together, where songs would be like that 2 minutes, you know what I mean? A minute something. Yeah. And so I was used to that short song structure for a while, but then when I started writing this material that was ultimately going to become this Mastemah stuff, then I just kind of let it flow. And there's one song on there that was the first song I wrote when I was out of a metal band doing stuff on my own from like 2001 or 2. So I mean, that's how far back some of this stuff goes. But it's like a new thing for me. So I'm just going with it.
So let's talk about how you got to this new thing for you. Because like when I met you, I think it was like 2020, maybe like 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And it was like right at the verge of this whole mess coming up. And when I met you, you had just lost like a lot of weight with yoga. Can you tell us a little bit more of that journey?
Well, yeah. Absolutely, man. That's I would love to. So it actually kind of started back in 2012, right? So I was working at a big box, no name musical instrument retailer over in like southern New Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia, right, which is where I'm at right now.
By the way, New Jersey, that was my dad is from. I think we talked about it before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I originally came from.
I don't know the area. I really want to go visit, but
there, it's like everywhere. Parts are nice, parts are not so nice. Mostly, there's a lot of people for how small the place is, and the property taxes I know are super high. So like a lot of people are kind of moving out. But I grew up north near New York. And now I'm right outside of Philadelphia, so right down here. So 2012, I was working in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is just south, right about 15, 20 minutes away from here. I was about 350 pounds,
350.
Oh yeah, man.
Wow.
You
How much
put
are
up
you
that,
now?
Right now I'm about 190.
Wow, 350 to 190.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, dude. So I was working at a no name instrument retailer down there, right? Big box chain kind of, and I hated it, man. I hated having to be like the used car salesman because I love instruments. I love everything about music, you know what I mean? And like my thing is like you kind of have to let people find their own thing, you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
I can't tell you what's good. You have to come to that discovery, and the beauty is in that discovery. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly, yeah.
And so like for me to kind of like have to push having some corporate people tell me what I need to be selling people or what I need to be doing, that it felt really, you know what I mean? It felt really slimy to me. You know what I'm saying?
I quit my job in 2012, a little bit before 2012 hit it. Exactly because of that, I felt like I'm not gonna. They don't need this shit. Why am I gonna sell them this shit? And then the guy's like, "No, you have to sell it. You're the manager." I'm like, I don't give a crap, man. If they don't need it, I'm not gonna sell it, bro.
Dude, it's all about like the extended warranties and selling add-on as much garbage as you can to the sales ticket and everything. It's like so. But anyway, dude, I was fuck all that is right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But so I was. Basically, I gave up on life at that point. You know what I mean? Like, dude, it was weird, man. I had a lot of my friends who I thought were going to be around for a little bit die on me. One was killed in a car accident. Dude who was like real close to me. I thought he was, basically my brother. You know what I mean?
Man.
I thought we were going to be, you know what I mean? We were going to be homies for life and everything. And he passed away. A friend I was really, really close to growing up, she passed away in a car accident. So I was going through a really bad phase of depression. You know what I mean? I was losing like people who were really close to me. My grandfather had just passed away, someone who was a real influence in my life, a real male role model in my life, which I did not have many, and so I was really depressed. I was really down and out, and I just kind of gave up. I kind of said, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm going to be 300, 400 pounds. Like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean? It's going to, whatever happens. You know what I mean? It was really
like
really
you're careless. Sick. Like it's not, I mean, I got to, and in my book, I actually talk about my depression, and I got to a point that I just fucking hated myself. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. It was just.
Yeah. But I've disguised that hatred as like this like nihilistic, like non-caring, you know what I mean? Like this kind of like facade, like, I don't give a fuck, I'm fucking metal, you know what I mean? Like, nah, dude. And so without going into her story, because that's kind of private, my sister has a kind of an autoimmune, kind of like a long-standing disease, right? And so one of the things they treated it with were these steroids that at the time, my sister is completely the opposite of me physically. I'm like 6'1", you know what I mean? Now 190, but before 350, and she's 5'1", you know what I mean? 100 pounds, 90 pounds, you know what I'm saying? So she blew up. She was like 160, right? At her heaviest point. And that was really big on her, right? And so she started doing this diet. Right? Are you familiar with the Zone diet?
Zone diet, yes, I tried.
It was,
too.
Yeah. It was real popular.
I tried all the diets in the world, man.
Right? So did I, right? But she was trying it And I was living at this apartment very close to Cherry Hill, and she would come visit me from time to time. And then the last time she came to see me, she was really skinny. She was, I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, you're looking awesome. Like, what happened? She's like, well, I'm doing this diet. It's the zone and this, that, and the other thing. And so I was like, I'm going to try that. Just like out of nowhere, I'm going to try that. You know what I mean? And so I immediately cut out sugar, immediately cut out gluten. Wasn't eating bread.
Yeah.
I had been vegetarian for a while at that point, but I was still just eating, there's fat vegans too, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be vegetarian and still eat McDonald's French fries all day long. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And pizza.
I mean,
so yeah.
Just because they say, oh, plant-based or this and this, that doesn't mean shit, you know? Like, you can be eating a lot of crap and also you're probably feeding a lot of shit in your mind too. Doesn't really matter, you know? Like,
absolutely, you are, yeah. And so like, even though I was veggie, I was still eating garbage, but then I was like, all right, I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to do what the stupid diet says. You know what I mean? I'm going to only eat this portion of that. You know what I mean? Cut out all the sugars and stuff like that. And that was in, that was in June, right, of 2012. And by the time I moved to Providence at the end of that summer.
You lived in Providence? My brother lived there too.
Oh yeah. So I went to Johnson, Wales for a little bit. I was doing bacon and pastry up there, which is pretty interesting. So in 2012, I was going to leave at the end of the summer to move up to Providence, and I weighed myself, and I had lost like 60 pounds, like in 2.5 months. Yeah, just doing, and
just like that.
And I was walking. The train station I had to go to get to work was 2 miles from my house, right, from the apartment. And so I would walk there in the morning, and I would walk home at night, and that was all I was doing at first. Then when I moved up to Providence, all I would do was walk around the city, because if you've been up there, you know how small it is. It's very walkable.
I never been up there, but I heard it's small. Yeah, it's like,
dude, it's the joke is,
my brother used to bike everywhere when he was living in there.
The joke is, if you have to drive more than 10 minutes, it's too far in Providence. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like, but it's an awesome city, man. There's so many colleges up there. There's like RISD, Rhode Island School of Design. So there's like a lot of artsy fartsy kids up there. There's a great crust and grind scene that's up there. And so I moved up there to live with this girl who I was seeing at the time, and I got a job managing this bakery. Right. So it's a bakery there called 7 Stars. Right. It baked fresh every day. They had a production facility right over the line in Pawtucket. It's a real place, like in Family Guy. It's a real place. So in Pawtucket, and so they would truck fresh pastries they had 3 different spots, right? And they would truck pastries in every morning. We would set everything up, and then when you sell out, you're sold out and everything, right? And so people are like, "How the fuck are you losing weight like working here?" Like,
working of it. I don't eat
here,
here, man. You fucking crazy.
Well, that's the thing. Like, every now and then I would they had a gluten-free almond cookie that I really, really liked. So it was like one of these big ass gluten-free almond cookies. I would eat one of those every now and then, shit like that. But I would really keep it like under lock and key. I was really kind of like a Nazi that first year of losing weight. Like, I was a food Nazi. Yeah, for sure. I was like, no.
Like the soup Nazi. No soup for you.
Yeah, no fucking food for you. Yeah, exactly, dude. So like,
I did the same thing, because I got to 360 pounds. At one point I would talk to myself of like, you have enough energy on you to fucking don't eat for like a year. So shut the fuck up. And that's how I talk to me.
Go to the fucking cave and hibernate. That's how much.
Exactly. It's like,
to burn that shit
sit
off.
there and shut the fuck up. You got plenty of energy to burn.
So, dude, that's what I was doing. Like that first year that I was losing weight, I would only walk around. There's a spot in Providence. The bakery I worked at was on Hope Street, which is like pretty straight shot right down to Brown and RISD, right down that downtown area. So Hope Street, right off of Hope Street, is a place called Blackburn Avenue, which was this 2-lane main road with a strip in the middle that had like a walking trail, and it had trees and little benches and shit like that. And people would just people just walk. And so from Hope Street to where the place ended was 2 miles. So like I would walk to work, which is a mile. I would walk up and down the road, which is 2 miles each way. And then I would walk home, which is another mile, right? So I would just do that. And eventually I got to the point where my coworkers were like, hey man, just shut the fuck. I don't want to hear how many fucking miles you walk. Just stop. Just stop. Dude. Just stop talking about it, right? And so, but I did nothing. I did no yoga. I did no working out. The last year that I was in Providence, I decided like on a whim, like, hey, fuck it, I'm going to join a gym. Right. And so I joined like a Planet Fitness kind of like knockoff thing. Right. I would go in there and I would do like 40 minutes on the machines, you know what I mean? The circuit. And then I would do like 10 minutes of cardio on a track, you know what I mean? And then that was it. I was out, you know? But the crazy thing was my stepdad passed in unexpectedly in 2014. Right. And so I came back down here to New Jersey for the funeral and to see my family and do all that stuff. And just on a whim, I got on the scale. I hadn't been on a scale since the first time, since before I left to go to Providence. Right. And I was there.
Really?
Yeah. So I was there for almost 3 years.
You're just
right?
like, I just gonna follow the diet and walk and fuck it. I don't even want to know if That's cool, man. I mean, like you didn't care about the end result. You care about doing it. So, which is all it matters.
Yeah, it's really weird, and I really want to talk about how that ties into like yoga and everything as well. Because to me, really, these past couple of years, like seeing how everything is connected has been really like, dude, it's been really like
the way when you started talking and you said 2012, it's exactly when my transformation now it started to happen. It was exactly in 2012, both of us. So I mean, it's all connected. I mean, it's for sure, but
absolutely,
it's so crazy. And you're not the first guy that I interviewed that says that it's 2012 was the boom. Like, okay, something needs to change, and I go from there.
Yeah, interesting.
It's pretty impressive. It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
It's really cool.
If you listen to my other shows, you'll see a lot of them like, boom, 2012. It's kind of incredible.
It's really interesting. I didn't know that. That's
That's why I'm
cool.
doing this interviews and stuff, because I really think like there is something going on bigger than we can fucking imagine, and it's all fucking connected. But anyways, we'll get there.
Absolutely we will, dude. But so like I went home for his funeral and all that stuff, and I got on the scale in my mother's bathroom in New Jersey, and it was 197, dude. I was down under 200 pounds for the first time. Even when I was a freshman in high school, I was 214 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
so,
man.
Right? So like I weighed less than I was in high school. It's pretty crazy.
Dude, respect, man. Respect. Big time, man. Big time.
Thank you, sir.
That's badass, man. I gotta tell you, that's and you should be in a bunch of fucking podcasts, man, talking about this. Like, that's a lot of weight you lost, man. Just
it is
walking and taking care of your food, man. Like,
not
rocket science, right?
No. And so like I didn't even really think. I was doing stuff. I was doing like body weight exercises at home. I was doing like squats, push-ups, you know what I mean, shit like that, sit-ups. But it wasn't until like 2016 I was with my ex-partner, and we were a member of a CSA, a farm share kind of a deal, right? And the pickup spot was at the gym that I ultimately ended up working at, right? This place on 11th Street called Fearless Athletics in Philly, right? And so we go in there and we're picking up just a box of fucking vegetables, man. And we go in there and there are these fucking like incredible Hulk looking dudes with weight belts on doing fucking pull-ups and like dudes, you know, squatting like 600 pounds and shit like that. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on around here? This is crazy. And so after a couple of times we pick up the food there, my partner looks at me and she's like, I want to do that. And I'm like, you want to do that? You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, I want to try it. So I was like, all right, let's try it. So I don't know if you know anything about CrossFit. I'm assuming you probably do.
Oh, yeah, I done it for a while. I actually did a rowing marathon once.
Oh, dude, yeah, I hate rowing. I hate it so much. I never got that. I never got that push and open up motion fully. I never opened up my hips fully.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
It's hard for me.
Yeah.
But so but yeah, I hope so. But dude, so she says like, she says, yeah, I want to join. And like I said, if you know about CrossFit, you have to take a 2-week kind of like preparation course where you learn about the different lifts, and you learn the terminology, and you
technique,
learn like
and all of that
stuff.
Yeah,
and you learn like how the workouts are structured, and all that kind of shit, right? So we did that, and like ultimately it's really funny because like 6 months into it, she quit, and I fell in love with it, dude. I was going every day. If you look on my Instagram, you can see they posted up about me a couple of times where I was training. I was doing like Olympic lifts in the morning, and then I was training like the intensity, like the kettlebell and dumbbell stuff at night, right, dude? But it was too much. I started hurting myself. I started getting tendonitis in my elbow and my shoulder, and not the shoulder that I ended up hurting at Amazon, coincidentally. but dude, so and my trainer, the owner of the gym, this guy Will, who's become a really good friend of mine, he was like, hey man, like stop with it was the Olympic stuff that was really fucking me up for some reason. Like I was just something about the bar, and I just didn't get along, right? So he was like, hey, why don't you switch to more of the dumbbell and the kettlebell stuff? And so I switched to that, right? And so this all ties in. I'm getting somewhere, trust me. This all ties in.
No worries. I'll trust you, man.
This all ties in with the yoga, right? Because at Fearless, when I was taking classes there's a gentleman by the name of Jake who goes by the name of Yoga with Jake on YouTube. He also does
I done it some of his videos before.
Oh, there you go, man. Yeah, Yoga with Jake, Yoga for Dudes. The dude is amazing. He's a great guy, great yoga teacher, real simple, real basic. I love the dude. We were lucky enough to get classes with him once a week just for free. It was included with our membership, right? And so like that was when I started like, hey, like I'm lifting a lot, like I'm starting to get really, stronger is tighter, right? So if you're really strong, your muscles are really tight. If you're not taking the proper days off, like I was going beast mode, you know what I mean, at first, which I wasn't. I would take maybe a day off a week, maybe, and do no like minimal recovery stuff, like roll out. I would do like, some of the stuff with the PVC, like pass throughs and around the worlds and like some mobility shit, but I wasn't going to go all out and do the stuff that I'm doing now. You know what I mean? And so I was like, hey, fuck this. I should take a yoga class. Like, it looks really cool. Like, and again, just kind of like on a whim, just kind of instinctually, like it was time to lose weight. Like it was time to do CrossFit. It was time to do yoga. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I did it, and I fell in love with it, right? And so that leads into fast forward a couple months later at Fearless, they decided to open up another spot a couple of doors down from the main gym. They called it the Annex, right? And in that Annex, they were going to offer more in-depth yoga classes. They were offering like movement and therapeutic stuff, like sports rehab and shit like that. And so they put me in charge of that little spot over there. And so, so I was working there, man, and attending yoga classes like every day. And one of those teachers who was teaching there, this gentleman by the name of Eric, he works for Three Queens Yoga over in Philly, down here, Monroe Street. He put the idea into my head. He was like, why don't you become a teacher? I think you'd be a good teacher. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm kind of doing this CrossFit thing, and he was like, well, just think about it, And I was like, okay. And so I went to the yoga studio. I'd never been to Three Queens before. So I went there to check it out. And like immediately when I walked in the door, not so much when I walked in the door, but when you have to go upstairs to go into the space where you practice, right?
Yeah.
And dude, it's gorgeous. There's like a bamboo floor and everything is white. And there's a whole wall full of windows. You look out onto Monroe Street in Philadelphia, and there's plants everywhere. It's fucking gorgeous, dude. But the whole thing is really like the vibe when you get in there. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's what I guess normal people think church is supposed to feel like. You know what I mean? So like when you walk in there, like literally the first time I walked in there, I was like, oh fuck, like this is awesome. And so like immediately I was like, yes, started the yoga teacher training program. And I could go into a little bit of depth on that too, because I originally dropped out of the first yoga teacher program that I was participating in.
You told me that once,
So when the pandemic hit, I was going through a really rough patch. My relationship with that ex-partner was like crumbling. You know what I mean? We were like holding on by a thread. You know what I mean? and like I, for some reason, was dipping into the hallucinogenics a little hard. You know what I mean? I was hitting psychedelics a little too much, perhaps. And so my mood was like a little bit, you know what I mean? You do too much, your mood kind of gets fucked up, right? And so I was in the training, and there was, if I can just tell this story real briefly, there was a class about chanting. Right.
Yeah.
So some lady, some fucking white lady, we could go into like the cultural appropriation of yoga and shit, and how these goofy ass white people are fucking stealing this shit and just making it completely absurd. That we could talk about that. But and I might get some flack for that from my peers here if they're watching this shit. But like, dude, so some goofy white lady, right, is coming in dressed in like traditional Indian garb and trying to teach us how to chant and shit like that. And like immediately my brain was just like, no. You know what I mean? Just like, no. Like, even if it wasn't this goofy lady, like I wasn't raised in that culture. I wasn't brought up, you know what I mean, chanting and doing that kind of stuff. It doesn't feel right to me personally.
Yeah.
I don't want to disrespect the practice, because I know there is yoga where people chant while they hold poses and stuff like that. I'm forgetting what the type is called right now. But so I don't want to disrespect the practice, but it's just not for me, right?
Yeah.
And so a couple of the teachers had some shit to say about it. They gave me a little bit of backlash, saying like, oh, you need to meditate, and like I need to figure out why I'm practicing yoga, and like, am I practicing yoga the right way if I'm not including all aspects of yoga into it? And my response was, yeah, hey, well, you know, at the same time, you're saying that this is my practice, and it's like what resonates with me, right? And so like,
exactly, yeah.
And so if that doesn't feel
the
authentic
light
to
in
me,
your own is the light in you. It's like, where's the give and take here? You know, like, it's not like you are in India, like, you know what I mean, living in there, and you have to do that kind of stuff where you're, you know what I mean, like,
it's not authentic.
You know, like, and you're respecting, like, if you were disrespecting, I can't even understand, but like, you were like, no, not for me, you know, and that's it. So
I actually, for like 2 weeks, debated about whether I took a DMT trip, and I debated whether or not I was going to even say anything, or I just wasn't going to attend the workshop, because it was like, oh, yeah. And then I said something, and I just realized I just shouldn't have, because ultimately when I went to the owner of the yoga studio about it, you know, the head, the lady who owns the place,
yeah,
she was like, yeah, you don't have to do that. It's whatever. So it's like really funny how people nowadays, they try and pigeonhole you into like, if you're not doing things my way, then you're not doing yoga.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
And they label you like every fucking thing that it's like, it's worst, you know, like, you know, I don't want to get too polemic here, but I'm not vaccinated for a bunch of reasons.
Sure.
And the minute that I say that, I'm like, oh, I can't believe you're that kind of people that do your own research, or you're white nationalist. I was like, dude, like, really?
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah, you're like Hitler.
What
now,
one
you know
thing has to do with the other? And the other day I commented on Facebook or something, and the guy started to make fun of Republican with me. I'm like, what do I even care? I don't vote for these guys, man. Like, I vote third party. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like,
A lot of not giving a shit over here as well. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. You say one fucking thing that if people don't agree with you, it's like you said, they just start bashing you. Like, what the fuck, man?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere,
dude.
Yeah. And you know what is funny? I'm reading Johnny Rotten autobiography.
Yeah.
Anger is an energy. And he says something that I fucking love it, man. I fucking love it, because he says, before you start pointing fingers, you really need to look at yourself first before any fucking. And this is exactly, that's absolutely truth. It's like, you can't start like, hey, you are this, and this, without even looking at yourself first.
Absolutely, man. I don't know if you know Patanjali. He was a guy who lived around 660 BC. He's like one of the fathers of modern, you know, yoga philosophy and stuff like that. And he pretty much says, like, to paraphrase, because I'm going to butcher his actual words, but he's pretty much like, we do yoga because we love yoga, right? And we don't practice it because we have to do it, or because we're looking for like an end result, or we're looking to like for some kind of self, you know what I mean, gratification from some selfish reason. You just do it because it feels right, because it's what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like playing music. Like, why do I want to play metal? It's because like why do you want to play punk rock? That's because you feel like that's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so like, you do, and I feel like this can apply to music as well, man. You practice and you do your yoga practice, and that transformation that it creates inside of you, you take that out into the world. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Much like creating a new song, you know what I mean, or playing guitar, you know what I mean, or being in a band or whatever it is. And so like, I'm not trying to, I don't go out and say like, hey, if you don't listen to my band, you're a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? I go out and I say, hey, this is my music. I hope you enjoy it. You know, like, here you go. Like, and on the same token, I'm not the kind of yoga person that says, hey, you got to do yoga my way. You know what I mean? Or else you're a fucking asshole. It's like, no, it's your practice. Just like it's my, you know, it's everybody's. I'm just the facilitator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing with guitar lessons, man. Am I going to tell a little kid who loves Guns N' Roses, like, you know, fuck Slash? You know what I mean? Fuck him in his face. He's, you know, like,
you like what you like, man. It is what it is.
Exactly.
I think yoga is great because when they say about the light and stuff, and everybody had that little thing that sparkle, you know, their light, like inside, you know, punk rock, death metal, samba, whatever, you know, like there is like people that, and you don't need to be a dick if you don't like it. You know what I mean?
No, not at all, man. But see, me being a musician, and I hope it's true with you, and I'm sure it probably is from what I know of you, man. Like, I can usually find something pretty decent to say about anything. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm listening to, like, even if I like fucking, there's a dude I work with who loves Grateful Dead, right? Like, personally, fuck the Grateful Dead. You know what I mean? I hate the Grateful Dead. And fucking every band that sounds like the Grateful Dead, but tons of people like them. Those dudes were fucking amazing players. You know what I mean? They basically invented their own sound system to go on tour with, to like custom build their own kind of sound thing. So like they have people that follow them just to do acid and get naked. You know what I mean? Like, that's amazing, dude. Right? So like, I can't really, how can I fault them? You know what I mean? Like, just because I don't like it, that doesn't mean that it's fucking shitty. That just means that I think it's just not for me. It's just, you know. So yeah, but it's funny that yoga, music, all these politics, mass vaccinations, all this shit, like everybody tries to tell you what to do, man, and that's ridiculous, you know?
Yeah, man. I think you need to find a connection with yourself that you're like, okay, this is for me, this is not for me, and you freaking decided, you know, like it's like I wrote it on my blog, it's personal responsibility. You know, this is exactly what it is. You know the consequence of both of them. You see what's right for you, man, and you know, go with your intuition on that, and fuck it.
Making an informed decision about your own self, yeah,
about your own stuff,
rather than having
like. Well, now, sorry, I want you to finish the story of the yoga story.
Oh yeah, man, we did. We got sidetracked with all the talk about vaccinations and shit. Well, no, so that really hit me the wrong way. You know, when those folks were like, you gotta think about, you know, why you're doing yoga and why you want to be a teacher and this, that, and the third. And it was two people that I had really respected. One of whom was the person who told me that I would make a good yoga teacher, right? So that really, like, that combined with the depression and the psychedelics, it was not a good combination. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, it really hit me the wrong way. I got really mad, and I basically told Mariel, she's the owner of the studio and she runs all the teacher training programs. I basically was like, hey, like, I'm going to stop working here. I'm going to stop the program. Like, I think we kind of both know this isn't a good fit. Like, she had known about like the whole chanting thing and the whole, you know, which, and also her answer of like, yeah, you know, it's no big deal. That kind of also rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Where it's like, is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Like, what the fuck am I?
What's going on?
Like,
yeah, what's the truth in there?
Like, am I going crazy? Like, what's going on? And so so I just I left, right? I stopped going, and then you know, everything shut down like right after that. That was in April, and then March everything was shut down. Right? March. No, so April. That was March. March, and then April, everything shut down. My mistake. Yeah. And so I was stuck in a house with my ex. Right. She was an ICU nurse. Right. So she got mandated to work. She couldn't be furloughed or anything like that. And dude, 3 days into working the ICU, she comes home and we both got fucking COVID. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
shit!
yeah, dude, we both get COVID, and then she lies and tells me that no, it's not COVID. I got tested. It was negative. It was yeah, well, we got tested again, and it was fucking positive. So yeah, yeah, dude. And then she splits.
And you beat it, COVID.
Oh yeah. You know, it was. I mean, it was. I've had it a couple times, honestly. So the first time was like 3 days of a sore throat, like a pretty bad sore throat, kind of fever. You know, like real hot, real tired. You know, I could still taste stuff. I could still smell. But like after those 3 days, when I kind of went back to normal, I was just like super tired. For like a week after that, I was just like, oh man, like I just had no motivation. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to do yoga. I didn't want to do CrossFit. I didn't want to do shit. I was just like laying there. And so like after that, I kind of, you know, recovered. I got back onto that summer. For some reason, dude, again, like it was just time to do yoga. It was time to just do CrossFit. It was time to just like start running. Right. So I just started running over the summer. So I got up to like, I'm up to about 5 miles at a clip right about now. But dude, when I first started running at CrossFit, I was awful at it. Like the other people, all right, to put in perspective how awful, this 80-year-old lady called Margareta, she would be like, dude, you're bad at running. You're not good at it. Right. But
sorry, man, but
it's true.
Funny.
No, it's the truth, man. Dude, this 80-year-old lady is fucking awesome. She can hang at any CrossFit class. She's amazing, dude. She's great. She fucking travels to India and shit. She's the real deal, man. She's awesome.
You know, I used to do triathlons, and when I first started running, I couldn't run much either. But it's funny because like one of my first races, I start meeting people, and then I asked my friend like, "How was your race?" You know, like because I finished before him. He's like, "Man, this old dude passed me on the bike," and then he was like, "This is fucked up, man." It's like, what the fuck am I doing? And then after, because he never showed up for training. So after that, he's like, I got to show up every day for training.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, some of these older guys in the gym inspired me, man. When you see guys that are deadlifting like 475, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
550, you're like, stuff, damn, dude. Yeah. Or they're running a couple miles with a weight vest on or some shit like that. You're like, dude. You know, I got to step my game up, man. You know. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. But dude, with that shit, I'm doing everything at home now because you know, I don't know how it is out there, but around here now, instead of just being vaccinated and having a card and shit, now they want everybody to be boosted to do anything with fitness indoors. And fuck that. I'm not doing that shit. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I hear. I also do a lot of stuff at home, you know, and because I did Ironman before, I kind of had some stuff that I do, and like I going out, like if in social media is already bad, going out is even worse, man. It's like I don't have. I tell my therapist like I can deal with people right now.
People are extra fucking shitty right now. It just seems like, you know what I mean? Like, dude,
it's crazy because it comes from the people that you wouldn't fucking imagine that would be shitty, you know. Like usually, like at least from me, like some people that I would never imagine that would be shitty. They're like telling me to wishing that I was dead. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like,
oh yeah, man. I got friends. When they found out, like, oh, you're not gonna get a booster. You're not gonna fucking come into the studio and do. No, I'm not. Oh, I guess we're not gonna be hanging out then. I guess we're not. I guess we're not gonna be. If you're gonna be a fucking asshole about it, then I guess not.
Like,
you know?
Whatever, fuck you, man.
Yeah, dude. It's like my ex-partner. You know what I mean? It's like I'm glad that I know like who I'm dealing with now. You know what I mean? Rather than like five or 10 years from now. You know?
Exactly.
So, fuck you. You know, like at this point, you know, I don't know how you are. I'm like almost 45 and shit. So like I don't want any fake ass bullshit in my life. You know what I mean? Like I don't have any time. I don't have any time for that, man. So like. If that means
I didn't have time before, and now that I'm almost 42, I have even less time.
Right, and less patience for me. It's like just tell the truth and be a good person, man. Like what the fuck? Like it's not a hard. It's harder to lie and be shitty than it is to be like honest.
Much harder, man. Much harder. You
have to work so much harder.
Up shit. You have like
Yeah.
Just be honest, man. It's so easy.
It just, and then you don't have to remember shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you. I like to get high a lot. And so like, I don't, my memory is not 100%, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I don't want to have to be remembering what I told people constantly, you know? So that way truth is just always easier. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. You know what that reminds me? Seinfeld have an episode that Jerry put like next to the phone the excuses that he already used it because he doesn't want to go out with the guy, so he has a list of excuses that he already did it. So he marks so he doesn't repeat it.
That's a brilliant idea. It's amazing. I love that show, dude. That guy's hilarious.
That's the best show ever, man.
Dude, he's one of the best comedians ever, in my opinion. But
yeah.
you know, a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't like him. They give him a lot of shit, but hey, whatever.
I love him, man.
You know, yeah, I love stand-up comedy. It's fucking it's good to see. Yeah,
no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just like trying to go back a track.
Yeah.
When you started running.
Yeah. So just
we get lost, man.
Yeah. It would be like I would zone out. You know what I mean? And I would come back to the crib and be like, wow, that was like an hour. I legitimately ran for an hour, like without stopping, ran for an hour. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and the transformation to your body, you know what I mean? How you slim down, you know what I mean? You start like, you know, I'm a real big fan of, I don't want to be like super bulky, you know what I mean? Like I want to be lean muscle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I just don't, I mean, dude, it's amazing what guys can do and girls in the gym can do, but like, I don't want to look like that. That's just not me, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I like the way it makes me feel. I like the way it kind of seems to regulate my own kind of like internal, you know, metabolism gauge or whatever, you know, like my body likes to be, I'm a little heavy right now, to be honest, coming out of the winter. My body likes to be kind of like 180 right around there, not 190. I feel a little heavy. So I'm working on getting those, you know, extra 10 pounds gone by the end of the winter time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But dude, I fell in love with it, and I just didn't expect to ever do that. I always hated it.
It's awesome.
And then just one day,
if you need any help with running, man, I can definitely help you out. So just reach out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll need all the help I can get, man. Cause like I'm bad at it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always,
I can help you out.
Yeah. It's just like, it's so weird that like for me, I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but, first couple of minutes, I'm good breathing. So, there's a bunch of articles that deal with yoga breathing as it applies to a running regimen.
Use it a lot.
Right? Yeah, same here, man. Yeah, so do I. But it's fucking super hard to do it at first, right? Yeah. For me, I was like, you know, I had to stop and like slow down and reset my breath and stuff like that. And now it's pretty natural. For some reason, my rhythm is like in fours. You know what I mean? I'm always in like a 4 rhythm, so 4 in, 4 out. And so like as I'm going harder as I'm doing the yoga breathing, it's like I was saying, like the first couple of minutes going really good, then I kind of hit a wall, right, where I'm starting to struggle, right? I start to struggle a bit, and then if I could push through that shitty struggle part, then it's kind of like playing guitar.
You kind of get in the steady state. Yeah.
It's like, you know, playing warm-up scales and stuff fucking sucks sometimes. You feel like all fumble finger, but then once you start getting into it, then you can start really ripping. And dude, it's like the same. It's just so crazy, like what we were talking about, everything being connected, man. Like it's just like my yoga teacher was saying, if I could loop back around to that, I actually ended up this past fall, just on a whim, you know what I mean? Like in my brain saying like, oh, hey, maybe I should try and, you know, do yoga school again, do teacher training. So I call up Mariel, and I was like, hey, are you even doing teacher training this year? Cause we were in the middle of it. Everything was locked down. The studio was closed, you know? And she was like, actually, yeah. And I was like, can I do it? And she was like, yeah. So I ended up going back in, and I graduated this past June. Yeah, dude. So I'm officially yoga teacher. It was crazy. So like we were saying, everything just kind of clicked for me. Like it was it was like a switch, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it was just time. And I feel really, really fortunate because number one, I feel like a lot of people don't ever get that switch clicked on.
I was going to say that the most fortunate thing that you like, at least for me, is like that, like the fact that I did that switch. I'm so grateful for that, because a lot of people don't have that switch. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I mean,
but dude, I used to be a not very nice person. You know what I'm saying? I used to be, because I was so angry at myself and sad and depressed and stuff like that, I would pass that, you know, on to other people and be shitty to other people. And so, like, since I learned how to deal with that through, dude, like you were saying, therapy, meds, yoga, meditation, breathing, exercise, it all ties in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to mental, physical health. It's all, you know, it all comes together.
It's body, mind, and soul, man.
Absolutely, man. But so like the Buddhist thing and the Vedic, the yoga principles have helped, like, they've helped me so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally owe my life to yoga, fitness, health, nutrition, this switch that clicked on, you know what I mean? Because without it, dude, I don't know where I would be, man. I would be addicted. I would probably be dead. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd probably like have a heart attack or like OD on some coke or something like that, which I like to do a lot, you know? But now it's like, it's totally different, man. So, I'm like I said, I was so grateful for that switch to click on. And like my yoga teacher said when I was graduating, you know, she like kind of called everybody up and gave them a little hug and kind of said something nice to them and stuff like that. And she was like, dude, yoga is just in you. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass or whatever, because I was amazed when she said it. Like, I was like, what the fuck, dude? This is a lady who her whole life is yoga. You know what I mean? Like, she knows fucking yoga inside and out, right? And she says to me, like, you embody yoga, like yoga is in you. Like, I was just like, what the fuck, dude? You know, and I forget that. I think a lot. I mean, yoga is in everybody. You know what I mean? It's in everybody. We all have that voice inside of us that knows what we're doing. You know, if we really think about it, we can convolute.
We just have to connect with it, man.
Exactly. I think a lot of people spend a lot of time pushing that down and ignoring it. You know what I mean? Like willfully ignoring that, right? But if you and it takes a lot of courage, right, to look into yourself and to find that, you know what I mean? Because like you gotta deal with a lot of shit on the way. You know what I'm saying? And that's fucking hard, dude. It's hard. It's painful, hurts, man. Very painful. Yeah, but like the other side of that is so beautiful. You know what I mean? It's
worth it.
Dude, the gratitude, you know what I mean, and the love that comes out of that, like, you know, there's, you know, the satisfaction of even just doing like the mundane shit, you know, of just like picking up a guitar and playing it, or, you know, or teaching a student a new scale, or like, you know what I mean, doing a practice and like nailing a certain pose you haven't nailed before. You do it the best, you know, you do the best to your ability, like, or even just both sweeping the floor of your fucking room and doing a great job and being like, yeah, my fucking room is clean, man. It looks beautiful. Clean, exactly. You know, it doesn't matter what it is if you put your all into it.
You're enjoying being alive, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Exactly. And
it brings you joy on the smallest things, you know, and it's great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
And then, so from that, you got back in music. That was it. Like from running and finishing yoga, you're like, I gotta go back to music. And
dude, so about the musical stuff, I was fortunate enough, and whoever's out there can give this things a Google and check out this music. I was fortunate enough to go to high school with a bunch of folks who ended up being in some very influential New York and New Jersey hardcore metal bands. I was in a hardcore / I guess you'd call it like a metalcore band in the late 90s, early 2000s, that opened up for some national acts like Lamb of God and Diecast and
nice.
Chimera, however you want to say it, you know, stuff like that. So I knew some cats from like I don't know, man. Now they would be Agents of Man. Shouts out to E-Town Concrete. Shouts out to One for One, Seth from Homicidal, you know what I mean? 25 to Life, Fury of Five, like all those guys, the Jersey hardcore scene back in the late 90s was just awesome, dude. And so I was friends with a couple of these dudes. And then eventually who were in these influential bands. And then I was in my own band and was lucky enough for these cats to kind of help us out, put us on shows, you know what I'm saying? Point us in the right direction, like who to go to record, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And so like, from playing shows in the late 90s, early 2000s, I went, I was, when we recorded our first EP, I was like fascinated with the whole recording process. Right. And so like, I was like, I want to learn how to do this shit, 'cause this is so cool. Like I was watching the dude put the mics on everything and watch him go behind the thing and fuck around with the mixer. You know what I mean? And like all this, and this fucking awesome sound came out of the speakers, and I was like, yo, how did he do that? And so 2000, I went to engineering school, which wasn't, I mean, it wasn't anything. It was more like a program. It was a couple of months at a place in Ohio, and you lived out there and you learned how to record. It was like a workshop. You know what I mean? It was called the Recording Workshop. Actually, it's in a place called Chillicothe, Ohio. And so I came back. I was working in the studio in Manhattan. I wasn't doing anything musically. I was playing like just on my own time, right? And so like a couple of false starts with a couple of people that it turned out to not go anywhere. You know, you think you're going to start a band and then like things fall apart. You know what I mean? Yeah. I moved back down. I'm originally from DC. That's where I was born. I grew up a couple of years down there. Moved back down there the summer of 2002. And so down there fell into actually from working at this backline company in College Park, Go Terps. I fell in with a couple of musician guys who they were in this like kind of grindy, kind of like gutter punk kind of band called Flinch, right? And so they were like, hey man, we know you play guitar, because it was basically my job to test out the guitar equipment. I would bring my guitar in and plug in, start testing out all amps and shit like that, put them on the truck, you know, for them to be delivered to venues and stuff. And so they'd be like, dude, I know you play guitar, here, check the CD out. And this is like the theme of my musical life, dude, you know, and he hands me a CD and I'm like, yo, cool, this shit's awesome. You know, so we started this 4-piece kind of grind crust band. Then I moved back to New Jersey and started working at that big box, no name musical instrument retailer in Southern New Jersey, right? And so, dude, I was still playing on my own. I had a bunch of guitars. I was writing metal songs and stuff, but I wasn't playing with anybody. And one day I'm sitting down, it was completely dead in the store. And I'm sitting down in the store, and this dude from the pro audio department comes over and he goes, hey, listen, I know this is not your type of music at all, but I'm in this band and I need a guitar player, and I've heard you play, and I just think for some reason that like your style would fit with what we do, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Let me hear what you got, right? And so he gives me a CD. And again, if y'all want to look this up, and you can find this music actually on Bandcamp, on Spotify, on Apple Music. It's on Last FM. It's all over the place. The Color Field Theory. Right. So this gentleman, his name is Roland. He was the guitar player and the singer, and he wrote all the music. It was him and this drummer, Rico. They were best friends since like middle school. They had this band forever. And their guitar player happened to unfortunately have a substance abuse issue, and he couldn't hang with the band anymore. So they needed a replacement guy. Dude, I took it home. You can check us out. Like I said, check it out on Bandcamp, The Color Field Theory. The first record is called, I believe, Leave Here If You Can. And I heard that, and I heard some of the stuff on it, and I was like really impressed, dude. It's real simple. It's real like dreamy pop. You know what I mean? Like real, like a lot of harmonies, a lot of melody, like nothing heavy at all. You know what I mean? But that happened in 2007, and I played with them. 2006, and I played with them up until I left to move to Providence in 2012. And so, dude, that was my longest running gig. Was just me having to play guitar, dude. All I did was show up to rehearsals. Dude would he would have the songs ready, you know what I mean? And I would be like, what do you want me to do? And he'd be like, I don't know, just do your thing, you know what I mean? And you know, and I would make up parts, and he'd be like, yeah, it's okay, cool. You know, oh, here, this part needs a solo. All right, what do you want me to do? I don't know, make up a solo. All right, cool. So it was cool because like he liked what I did, and I had pretty much like free reign to do whatever I wanted to, you know? And so basically I just listened. I got myself familiar with a lot of like power pop, You know what I mean? Shit like Super Drag, like Fountains of Wayne, like Pavement, like Television, My Bloody Valentine, you know what I mean? Like stuff like in that, like kind of shoegazy pop, dream pop kind of, you know, so I just got myself really familiar with that stuff and just kind of wrote parts that were in that style. And like, that's, you know, that it just went, you know, places. That's cool, man. Two records later, you know what I mean? We recorded all the stuff ourselves, you know, which was awesome. We had a little, we had a little studio in South Jersey, where we would go record everything, mix everything ourselves. And so when I moved up to Providence, I was really not doing anything musically. I didn't even really, I sold all my guitars and equipment to move up to Providence. Yeah. I had nothing. And then one day when I was working at that bakery, a dude I worked with was like, hey, I heard you play guitar and stuff. Would you be willing to play bass in this band that I'm in? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't have anything. And he's like, yeah, we got all the equipment. Like, don't worry about it. So I was like, all right, cool. So I get to the rehearsal spot and he's got like, dude, they got full drum kit, Marshall stacks, like the whole Ampeg bass stack and stuff. Yeah, Ibanez 6-string bass. I'm like, yo. And dude ended up moving out to Seattle, and he gifted me that Ibanez 6-string. So like that was kind of like the re-entry back into me writing stuff for myself, right? Because at first it would be me with the shitty burner cell phone, you know, like the cheapest cell phones that you can get, with like a voice memo recorder or whatever. And I would have that bass and I would sit on my couch because I had no other furniture in my apartment. I'd sit on the couch and just bang out riffs, like guitar riffs on the 6-string bass. Like, so bang, right? But dude, I had all these riffs and shit, right? And so when I came back to this area, I just kind of started acquiring gear. I started working again briefly at the music store, right? Before I ultimately quit in 2016. So while I was there, I was fortunate enough to end up picking up a couple of pieces of gear, you know what I mean, with my discount and shit like that. Along the way, I was actually just talking to a friend of mine about this who didn't believe me. I got hooked up with Jim Dunlop strings and picks. I've been using their shit for forever. And the rep would come to the music store and I was using, they came out with this new string called Heavy Core, where it was like you could drop tune and they would hold the tension, like they were tuned to normal pitch or whatever. And I was a big fan of just the heavy cores in general. And so I was like one of the first people that were using them. The rep came to the store and he was like, hey man, what's up? And I'm like, yo, I love those heavy cores. Like, can I get some? You want to hook a brother up with them? And he's like, are you in a band? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are you on like Bandcamp and iTunes and Instagram and Facebook and shit? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, and do you play shows and all that? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, just give me your email and tell me what you want, and I'll send you, you know, whatever you want every month. Dude, so every month I was getting like a box of acoustic strings, a box of electric strings, a bunch of picks and shit like that. Dude, I was so, you want to talk about grateful? Like, that was crazy to me that any company would want to like hook me up. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, dude. Right. So I got hooked up with them. I started looking back into like recording things, right? So I started getting like interfaces and like started building up my microphone collection and, you know what I mean, doing shit like that. Thankfully with the pandemic, like some of that money that everybody got actually went back into this project. So I was able to get like a new interface and was able to get a guitar and stuff like that, like an actual, like a really nice guitar to start recording stuff. And so like, dude, ever since last year has just been like building up to start doing the solo project. You know, at first, like I was really intimidated with the drums, like programming the drums, because like I can play. I've been playing drums since I was 12 years old. I took lessons, the whole nine. So like I can play everything that I program. I can play it. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't program all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like really simple because I'm not a crazy.
Because otherwise, you're not gonna. I'm the same way. I program, but now I'm learning the drums now. So my next album, I'm gonna be playing the drums. But I'm the same way because like I don't want to put programming like the guy who did it for me because I had no idea. Like I said, I got into School of Rock. I played the bass before when I was a kid. 18. But I got into School of Rock at 39 to really learn the guitar. So like the guy, I had a friend of mine that did it for me. the programming, but he did the same thing. Like he didn't do anything crazy that I cannot learn afterwards, or you know what I mean? Like, because otherwise it's not authentic. And then now I'm learning how to play all my songs now, and so.
I'm reading a lot about like the old death metal bands also, who like they're talking about like drum triggers and replacing and programming and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, all the old school guys are like, yeah, fuck that. Like, nah, it's like the old shit was like, you're in a room with your drums and there's microphones on your drums and that's what you hear.
Exactly.
You don't hear a fucking sample. You know what I mean? That's been sampled a million times to death. And so like what I was trying to do was, and a buddy of mine and I just had a conversation about this too, because like he's like, oh, like maybe you should like in your drums, like you should maybe program them with like different velocities. And like here, I'm like, yeah, you mean to like put them, offset the time a little bit so it sounds like a person. Yeah. I'm like, why don't you listen to it again? Because it's exactly what I do. You know what I mean? Like I like going back to what we were saying, like the I guess parameters I put on myself when I was doing this project is like one of those things. It's like I wouldn't program what I can't play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so everything that you hear programmed, number one, I take care to, like I was saying to my buddy, like when you come out of a groove part that's slow and you're kind of like whacking on the snare, you know what I mean? You're putting a little more oomph into it. When you go from that to like 2-hand open blast beat, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to be hitting the snare with the same velocity that you are when you're smacking it in like a breakdown or a groove, right? Yeah. And so I try and be conscious of that. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and like
cool, man. That's cool.
And like how you program the cymbals, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to have like one cymbal just keep hitting, you know what I mean? You program them so that they're pans left and right, like like how a person would play it,
Yeah.
And so that being said, though, there are some bands like Mortician or like Putrid Pile, like guys like that the drum machine sound is kind of like part of their thing, you know what I mean? And like they embrace that. So some of that shit is cool, but like I want my stuff to sound more realistic, which is really hard.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way, because even though because my album, I did the bass and the guitar and the vocals, and then my friend put the drums, and I told him like the style that I wanted, and but because my guitar is not perfect, it made it the drums not be perfect either, because some of the stuff like it's out of timing, like a tiny bit, like it's a real person playing,
Absolutely.
Because otherwise it's like, I think it takes the beauty of it, because the beauty, it's not being perfect. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Like,
Wabi Sabi, bro. Wabi Sabi.
Yeah, man.
Dude, a friend of mine never heard that the other day. I was like talking about a mix or something, and I was like, Wabi Sabi, dude, just fucking, you got to just go with it. At what point, like I'm mixing all these songs right now, and it's driving me fucking crazy because I'll hear it. It'll sound great on the speakers or in the headphones, and then I'll hear it back once it's all mixed down and I render it. You know what I mean? I get it like a mastered, like kind of a final version, and it sounds like donkey dicks. And my, just it sucks, dude. And so like,
dude, but I'll be honest, it's very hard to find a musician that's gonna listen to the music. It's like, this is the shit. I mean, I talked to my friend about this the other day. He's like, he told me like, whenever a band launch an album, I can guarantee they are not 100% happy with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, nobody's going to be 100% happy with anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Ever again, it's like that. You can't please all the people, all the time kind of thing. But it's like, and it's and it seems like it's funny when a lot of my friends who don't really know kind of like the origins or the history of metal, they try and tell me like, oh, you got to mix this a little bit like this way, or no, your double bass part shouldn't be like this. It should be a little bit different. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you know? Because you know what I mean? Like, and not to, not again, not to toot my own horn or whatever, but like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long you've been in the punk scene, but I've been listening for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason, I don't know why. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been drawn to the heavy styles of music, right? Always. Like,
dude, you know what my first album was? I actually got I talked about it in the book. I got a venue from one of those, like those kids shows, like in Brazil. I got one of that from the lady. I was like, I don't want this shit. I went to the store and I got AC/DC Fly on the Wall, man. That
Oh,
was
there
my
you
first
go.
album.
Okay. Dude, my first
6
album
years
ever.
old, man. I don't
6?
know why, but yeah, I was always attracted to, like, I heard Iron Maiden through my brothers when I was 3.
Fuck yeah.
But I was always like freaking, like, whenever you listen, I listen to them like, this is the shit, man. Like, I don't want to listen to the other crap.
Dude, for me, it was Sabbath. When I first heard Sabbath, that was fucking it. It was over.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like, literally, legit. I wasn't 6. I was 8 when I heard like metal proper for the. And I was really, really lucky because in South Orange, which is a town that my parents moved to after we left DC, there's a college there called Seton Hall University, right? Go Pirates, dude. Go Pirates. But they have a radio station, 89.5 WSOU. What only plays the tagline is the hardest rock, dude. All they play is death, black, hardcore, thrash metal, like all kinds of, and they played our local hardcore bands and shit like that. Like they were all about, dude, it was amazing. And I was so lucky to have that, you know what I mean? And I didn't know how lucky until I started meeting people from like other areas of the country, and they're like, "Nah, man, we didn't have that shit. Like we didn't have a record store with like a heavy like a metal section in there. You know what I mean? You guys had a radio station." And so, dude, I heard it was a trend. It was like Sabbath to Metallica to Anthrax, because they had those like moshy parts, right? Then to Slayer, and Slayer was like really scary because they were all fucking evil. You know what I mean? And then I got into like then I started getting into like Cannibal Corpse and Gore Guts and like the whole like the Florida, like the whole More Sound, death metal, Morbid Angel and Deicide and all that kind of shit.
Morbid Angel,
and, oh fuck yeah, man. And just like I said, Cannibal Corpse and like all that kind of stuff. And I used to in that metal band that I was in the late '90s and early 2000s, I would try and get my other guitar player into more of the heavier shit. I would constantly play like Suffocation, like Pierce from Within, or Gore Guts Considered Dead in the car when we were going to band practice. Yeah, or what was a good one? The Bleeding, Cannibal Corpse, The Bleeding. That was a classic one. The last one with Chris Barnes on vocals. And so like I would try and
I haven't heard a lot of Cannibal Corpse, but I heard I mean, I'm a big fan of Slayer, man. My brother used to make me record all the lyrics of the Slayer, and like he also used to tell me like, you gotta tell me who does this solo. I needed to know if it was Kerry King or Jeff Hanneman.
Or Hanneman,
I fuck all the way to, I think, before Diablos in Music. I mean I knew the whole freaking thing of Slayer, man.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Yeah, they have a special place on my my battle vest. They sit right. They got a patch right here, so everybody sees it. Dude, I fucking love Slayer. But
dude, Slayer is the bomb, man.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. They were like the transition for me from thrash to death metal, basically.
Death metal, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they
had right in between.
Exactly. Yeah. They were, to me, like see, everybody gets on like Possessed Dick and shit like that, but people forget about like Morgoth and you know, and shit like that. Some like the European bands, like Grave and shit like that were doing like those higher vocals, like Entombed. Dude, it was just so awesome. Like that whole time in music and metal was so awesome. That there was that late '80s, early '90s when it was so new. And so like back then, I've been, like I was saying before, like I was reading like all these interviews with all these guys and shit, that the guys that like started it, you know, from that era and stuff. And they were just like, yeah, man, fuck, it's not going to be like, stop programming and fucking dialing shit in. And you know what I mean? Just like go for it. Like it's fucking death metal. Dude. It's supposed to be dirty. It's not supposed to be perfect. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like just, and so when that really internalized, that's when I started doing shit like much more of a minimal approach, like not EQing shit to death, like not over editing all the parts, you know what I mean? Like just kind of like letting it, you know, not fucking going back over and doing like take after take after take and like, you know, playing it to death and questioning myself and shit like that. So like when I put it out, there's going to be imperfections and there's going to be shit that you're going to hear that's not 100%, but you know, it's what it is.
Real, right? That's what it is, man. Yeah, you do the best you can and go for it.
Today,
so, when are you launching?
Dude, it's supposed to be February 2nd. That's what my Bandcamp. That's what the Bandcamp says. I just started doing vocals. So yesterday and today, I just started doing the low growls.
Yeah.
I did one high like demon scream, that that kind of stuff. I did one little part of that. Just to kind of see, but dude, it sucks being it's amazing being a one-man band, and it sucks being a one-man band. It's amazing it's amazing because I can do whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want. Right.
Yeah.
But it sucks because I have to kind of create in the moment. You know what I mean? Like as I'm doing like the low parts, like I have to kind of think of, well, how am I going to layer this? And then I'm going to have to try out the different, you know what I mean? Different vocal patterns and shit like that. And it's like things that I make.
But it's cool because you kind of ended up not only doing what you want, but you kind of tap into different places of your creativity, right? I mean, this is at least what it happens with me. I'm like, when I do that stuff and then I put it together, I'm like, oh yeah, the vocals, I can do a little bit this. I mean, it's more work, but I think, I don't know, like that's the feeling I get. You can continue, but I just want to say that because I think it's cool because you kind of tap into different areas of, if you are in a band, you wouldn't be tapping as well.
I think that's right. I think that's 100% right. Like, yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, you think like a drummer, you think like a bass player. You know what I mean? And I try and like when I'm playing bass, I try and shut off the guitar player part. You know what I mean?
Which is hard,
like, right? Yeah. I think like kick drum. You know what I mean? Live in the drum set. You know what I mean? Like I want to be in a ball in the center of the bass drum. Fucking do my, you know what I mean? Do my bass part and shit. And like and. It's a real compliment, and I'm really grateful when people that I don't know hear shit my shit and they have good things to say about it. It's really cool to me. Like dude, it's like a fellow instructor at the school the other day saw me on Instagram. He decided to follow me and check me out, and this is a young kid who himself is an amazing multi-instrumentalist, awesome singer, like amazing drummer, great guitar player. I checked out some of his shit. It's not metal at all. It's like poppy, like Owl City, like Water Parks, kind of like happy, like la 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 kind of shit. But dude, he's amazing, right? Yeah. And so and he told me, he was like, dude, like I feel like metal has a lot of bullshit associated with it, and you kind of like strip that down. I'm like, dude, it's not stripped down. It's like super stupid simple like that, and that's what I intended to do, is like super simple, like just go with it. And so he was like, but no, it's like it's good though. He's like, your grooves and like your riffs and shit, he's like you got some riffs. I'm like, dude, thank you so much, man. That shit, it just makes me really happy and really grateful.
And it's funny because like money music for me at least, like it has nothing to do with money or anything like that. It's just something much deeper that you fucking tap into it, and it's brilliant, like, and so good for you. So, like it's fucking awesome. Like I love music, like in ways that now I'm meeting more people that are talking like you that, have the same relationship with music that I have. But for a long time, I was like, not everybody understands, what it really means for me, but
it's really hard to find people that are on the same page, man, for sure. Yeah. Like as like we were talking about, people just sucking nowadays, man. And I don't really think that they suck. It's just like, I think that us being isolated from each other and us being in our little hidey holes, and then combined with the internet, where people like just feel like they can say whatever to anybody, like when, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter like who they are, they're just gonna open their fucking mouths and say some shit. You know what I mean? Like people forgot how to be.
Not even think about it.
Yeah, dude. Yesterday I was, you know how Neil Young pulled all this music off of Spotify, right? Because of Joe Rogan, right? So I was talking to a friend of mine, this dude I've known since I was working at fucking Guitar Center for like 15 years. I've known this guy, right? And we're talking about it, and I was like, yeah, fucking Neil Young sure has a lot of shit to say from a fucking Canadian who hasn't had a hit song in 30 fucking years. You know what I mean? Just kidding, like joking around, you know what I mean? Just being an asshole as one does, you know what I mean? With your friend, you know what I mean? That you could say shitty things to your friend in jest, and they're not going to get mad. So some fucking douchebag out of fucking left field saw that comment and was like, actually, he's an American citizen, and well, that you sound like a fucking elementary. Yeah, you sound like you're in elementary school. So that's really intelligent. Like, who the fuck are these people that they're just coming out of the woodwork. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. People just think that they can say anything to anybody, dude. Like you were saying, like people, when you go places and people are yelling about the mask or getting boosted or whatever, it's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. But it's like people, like I was saying, people kind of forgot how to interact with each other, man. And that sucks. So when you do find someone who is on the level, like I get really happy about that.
Yeah,
you know what
I mean, it's friends. You're making jokes. Is like that. You know, like I don't think Neil Young's a bad guy. And neither Joe Rogan. It's just like, dude, you can just like, oh, it's either me or him. Like, no, man, the whole world is ours. It's like it's not that. I mean, you don't like what that guy is saying, whatever. He might not like your music either. So who gives a shit? You know, like it is what it is. Deal with it, you know, and let's go. Let's move on.
I just think it's fucking crazy that artists try and send you, and it doesn't matter if you're like a movie director or a musician or you do visual art, you're a painter, a sculptor, or whatever. Like if you do some shit that other people don't like, man, other artists fucking jump on you. You know what I mean? Like other artists who are supposed to be like, hey, no, like we're supposed to be able to do whatever the fuck we want to do. Like, dude, am I cool with, so I'm Jewish, right? I grew up Jewish. I don't like right-wing fucking assholes or Nazis or people who, you know what I mean, who are racist, shitty, you know what I mean? I don't like that stuff.
Neither do I, man.
Right. But I mean, like, can I legitimately be like, you can't fucking say any of that shit? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I could say, hey, I don't want to be around that shit. You know what I mean? Or like, I can take steps in my life so I'm as far away from that stuff as possible. But like, if there's like, say, a metal band, and there are lots of like fucking black metal bands, you know what I mean, or death metal bands who are overtly like racist or like fucking homophobic and stuff like that. Especially a lot of black metal bands for weird reasons, or like nationalist and like really racist for some reason, dude. It's fucking weird.
There's some there really are.
But can I like say, what the fuck, Grand Belial's Key, who are from Virginia, you know what I mean? They're like super fucking racist and weird. But like, am I going to buy their records? Am I going to go to their shows? No, I'm not going to do that. But am I going to say like, hey, fuck, I'm on Bandcamp? You know what I mean? Am I going to say, hey, no, I'm going to pull all my music off of Bandcamp? You know what I mean? The one song that's up there because Grand Belial's Key is also there, right. Yeah, because they're also, no, fuck that. It's like I can't tell them, dude. Are you a Pantera fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, I know that.
Me too. Yeah, I love Pantera, but Phil Anselmo is one of the biggest pieces of shit that I've ever seen. I mean, he's fucking up on stage like Sig hailing and shit like that. There's video footage of him doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I never seen it. I never seen him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a dirty junkie. He's all fucked up and shit. And that's probably one of the reasons why he did it. But like, I'm just saying, like, do I have to burn my fucking Pantera records now because of that? Like, no, dude, they're right there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to stop listening to Pantera or take the patch off my vest because some fucking asshole says that they're a racist band. You know, because
you might not agree with what the guy stands for, you know, and like I said, don't buy it. That's what I do. Is like if there's something that I don't like, I don't buy it, you know. And
yeah, dude, like if there's some, like I'm watching YouTube or whatever, and there's some fucking, I don't know what they're doing now, man. But when I watch it on YouTube, I don't know if they do this to you, but they have in their ads in between stuff, they're putting up this like weird fucking like Republican propaganda and shit. At least some of them. Yeah, dude, they have like, there's this thing called PragerU, which is like basically the first one that I ever saw that I almost fucking shit my pants is like, there was this like really well put together black dude. He's like in a suit, he's like sitting there, and he's like, oh, what's this? Is this like some educational shit? Like, what's going on? And he's like, basically, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, I'm going to tell you now why the cops aren't racist. This is like all on the tail of like all the shootings and all the fucking riots, right? And then there's just and instantly I'm just like, how much did they pay this motherfucker to come and say to pay a black dude to say that the cops aren't fucking racist and killing people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to me. So like when I see that shit,
it's like Iron Maiden saying once, nothing is real until you really feel it, man. And you know, people that really felt racism and stuff like that, these people know that it's not. It's like they know how it is, man. You know, like, but for people that never felt it, the only thing that I don't like is like, it's when it comes to violence and people start doing shit. That is like, but if the guy do a song that you might not freaking agree with it, don't buy it or anything like that. But when it comes to violence, that's the only thing that I'm like, dude, that's a little too much. But you know, like it's kind of crazy lately, man. I'll be honest. That's what I said. I prefer stepping out than joining that kind of craziness, man.
It's like you can't say anything because as soon as, like we were talking before, as soon as you say something, like two people, jump out of left field and tackle you and shit. It's like, it's crazy, dude. And so, I mean, yeah, about that shit. Like I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't buy anything that had to do, that's message was anything like that, and I would stay away from it. But I mean, I do agree with the point that, like, why would you make something like that? You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't agree with writing a song like that. I think music is supposed to be at its heart like positive. Like even if you're writing about something negative, like it should be like kind of a cathartic thing. You know what I mean? Like even if
you're transforming that negativity into something beautiful, which is music.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it,
And even like the heaviest, most brutalist shit is still can be beautiful.
Exactly.
But like that lyrical message, like I don't think anybody should just be. Why put that out into the world? You know what I mean? Like the world is hard enough, man. Like why be an asshole on top of that?
Exactly. Why put some more gasoline on top of that?
There was remember those shirts a while ago? It was like, why be racist and homophobic when you could just be quiet or something like that? Like why people should just enough of everyone's opinion. You know what I mean? Like people should just be quiet. If you got a shitty opinion, just just be quiet. Like,
if you don't write a song. Nice to say, don't say nothing.
Right? Isn't that the fucking golden rule? Like treat everybody how treat everybody how you want to be treated, and if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it. Yeah, dude.
It's not fucking rocket science, man.
Exactly.
Like I was a professional athlete. I saw a lot of cheating, like a lot of drugs and a lot of drafting on the races and stuff. And I was always like, listen, I don't like when people do that to me. Why would I do that with somebody else? I just gonna do my race. Fuck it. I might lose points. I might get worse positions, but I'm not gonna cheat. Like I don't like when they do it with me. Why gonna do them with them? That it's like a simple golden rule. Like I wouldn't like to be doing that. Why would I do it with somebody else?
So that is kind of how I try and treat everybody. Yeah, I mean it's hard because a lot of people. They don't deserve it. You know what I mean? But it's not for them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's for us ultimately. It's like if I let somebody's shitty attitude affect me, then like, they're not affected by it. You know what I mean? Yeah. They don't care. They're probably happy about it. It doesn't hurt them in any way. If anything, it gratifies them. And so like, if you just gotta let it roll, man. Which is easier said than done, but still. That's what I aspire to.
My blog, when I did my blog, I started like kind of like a bad religion type of thing. So I structured a little bit. And the first rule is like, thou shalt not be an asshole, like that's all.
That's exactly it.
An asshole. And I think being an asshole, it starts with you. Don't be an asshole with yourself. And then you won't be an asshole with somebody else. That's simple. It's like the new young stuff. He didn't have to say anything like that. Just, like, well, you don't like what Joe Rogan talks about health and blah, 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 blah. That's fine, man. But this is the guy's life. He turned into that, and we all have something to learn with him, with like some health tips and shit like that. But you can't silence the guy, man. The same way he cannot silence new young music, period.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny that it's never, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to take sides. I'm not trying to do whatever, right or left. But I'm just saying that it's always funny that it's always the people, it seems like on the extreme, who are always like, no. They're always trying, and the person on the other end is kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like I'm sure Joe Rogan's not losing any sleep, over Neil Young and shit. But it's like, like you were saying, like why even like say anything? He could have just been like, I'm just going to take my music off of there. If he's on there, then I'm just going to take it off of there. And then and then maybe if somebody asks him like, hey, why is there nothing of yours on Spotify? He could be like, well, I don't agree with, what this guy has to say or whatever. So I did it some protest or whatever. But see, the thing that's fucked up, and I'm going to go back to the fucking to the fucking vaccine fucking politic nonsense, is that those fucking people, like the crazy vaxxers, like the crazy like left wing fucking ultra lefty. You got to have 18 boosters and a fucking 3 masks, and you know what I'm saying. Those people, dude, when they fucking find some actual legit science that contradicts what they believe. You know what I mean? Like the shit about like if you've already had COVID, your fucking antibodies. You know what I mean? Like the fact that the way that they use ivermectin actually treats fucking COVID. You know what I mean? It's not like it's used. You know what I mean? It's not like he's.
My friend used it. My friend used it.
It's legit.
He got it in 2020 in the beginning, and he took ivermectin, and that was it.
Yeah,
he took it 2 days.
And but he was also Rogan was also saying that he did vitamins and he was in the sauna and he did. I mean, the dude has $18 billion, and I'm sure every medical advice doctor known to man on speed dial. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure he goes in and drinks a shake of like some magic fucking you know what I mean? There's like vitamins. There's like a baby.
Likely, yeah.
There's a fetus in there with all the stem cells and everything. It's like he just chugs it and then he's fine. But it's like fucking. Dude, I don't understand that. Like it's reached a mania. It's like this maniacal on both sides too. It's like you were saying, like if you don't believe in getting a fucking crazy vaccine that you don't know what's in it, you're a fucking Nazi, fucking right wing, fucking nutcase. And if you you know what I mean? And if you do believe in wearing a mask or whatever, then the other side, it's like you're fucking crazy, fucking left wing, fucking nut job that you just want to take away all our freedoms. It's like there's no more middle ground anymore.
And that's why I like punk. Punk always like there's a music Bad Religion song that says the truth is somewhere in the middle, and it's exactly that, man. It's somewhere in a fucking middle. It's not
absolutely.
It's not the extreme right. It's not the extreme left. It's somewhere in the middle, man.
And for some reason, dude, with all the polarization and shit, like we don't talk to each other anymore. Like if you think that, like I have friends who this one friend of mine, I'm pretty sure he thinks that I'm like some kind of crazy conspiracy theorist. Like I'm like, dude, like I got vaccinated so I could go to shows and like to be out in the world because I got sick of fucking sitting in this little hidey hole and not doing anything. I wanted to go see some fucking bands and shit, man. I'm going to see Meshuggah. Meshuggah's coming in February to Philly, man. I'm going to go see them. It's going to be amazing. So I got the one, the J&J, right? So I figured one and done. Now people are talking to me about boosters and shit. And when I'm saying no, I'm not going to do that, they look at me like I'm fucking crazy, dude. And one guy I was texting with him. We hang out like on a pretty regular basis and shit. And he's like talking to me about like flat Earth and fucking conspiracy theories and shit. I'm like, dude, is that how you really think that I am? You know what I mean? Is like that the view that like because we're not on the same planet. If that's your opinion of me, we're in like totally different dimensions here. You know what I mean? Like something happened. Like there's a fucking programming flaw in the Matrix or something like that. You know. But dude, it's crazy nowadays. It's not nobody can come to the middle, you know.
And nobody can actually have a conversation. You know, everybody just fucking react like, "Oh, you fucking asshole." And then there's no conversation. There's no debate. You know, like in that. Like we're talking here, it's like, you know. But we need to have that more, man. I totally agree.
Absolutely, man. And people are like, "Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer. You're this." I'm like, no, I'm not anti anything actually, except I'm anti people being able to tell other people what the fuck they should do. You know what I mean? Like nobody should, especially with medical stuff, nobody should be able to tell anybody, you don't, no federal fucking state mandate, no law, nobody should be able to tell anybody what to do with their own medical decisions, you know, and what to put into their fucking body, dude. And that how anybody doesn't agree with that is crazy to me, because I have people, I have friends on one side who are like, if you don't get, vaccinated, it's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like basically it's like, fuck you. I cut you off. Like, I hate you. Like, you're disgusting. Like, I'm not talking to you. I'm not hanging out.
I lost a few friends on Facebook already. Because
same.
Of that. Like,
same here, man.
Like, what the heck, man? I thought you were my friend, but anyways.
Dude, just today, I was trying to hang out with a fellow yoga teacher that we were in the same graduating yoga class together. Yeah. And they were like, yo, let's go to the yoga studio, right? But in the yoga studio, like I said, they're requiring fucking, not only are you supposed to be vaccinated and boosted, right? You have to log your medical history into an application, right? You got to provide proof into this app, right? And then not only do you have to be vaccinated and boosted, but you also have to wear your mask at all times, even when you're on your mat practicing yoga, right?
Yeah.
So,
what the fuck, man?
Right. So I was like, no, I'm not going to go to the yoga studio until this is all done. Like, I'm not doing the booster. And they're like, oh, yeah, I guess we're not going to hang out inside together ever again. I'm like, all right, guess not. Cool.
That's crazy, man.
Like, okay, sure. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people, dude?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. And people, like, I have people that when you want to talk about it, they're like, they point to like the people that they know who have died, and like that's the end of the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know somebody who died. Okay. I know a lot of people that died. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Maybe not from COVID. You know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of people that fucking died. You know? Yeah. But that's like the end. That's the end of the conversation there. So like, exactly. Okay, all right, because you know someone, a person that you know died. That like negates all logic and all information about everything.
just
So, well, like you said,
let's see what's gonna end it up on this podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's see, man.
Yeah,
that's funny, man, dude.
I don't want to take too much of your time, and also my kids are waiting for dinner time.
For sure, dude. Yeah, yeah.
But man, great conversation, dude. Like great conversation.
That was awesome.
Let's do another one when your songs are out, so I can
listen
and we can have a talk. I don't know if you heard my album, but I'll send you the link later on.
Yes, please.
And you tell me what you think too. But let's as soon as you launch, let's schedule another one and go from there. I'm excited to hear your songs, man, and see what you come up with. I'm happy for your transformation, man. Like,
thank you.
390 pounds to 190. That's fucking huge, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome, man. I have all the respect for you, especially because a lot of people see like, oh, you did 18 Ironmans, but fuck, man, I was 260 pounds and smoking 2 packs of cigarette a day before that.
Wow.
So I totally appreciate where you're coming from, and I know how hard it was to do all that, man. And honestly, my sincere congratulations on that, because it's huge, man. It's huge.
Thank you so much,
like
man.
I said, I think
you
should be in a lot of podcasts, man. Because like you did by yourself, man, and this is fucking great. It needs to be heard, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, brother.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you do the same. Podcast day, brother.
Keep it up, the good work, man.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, Mastemah. We're on Instagram, on Bandcamp. So
I'll check it out. I need to put my band on Bandcamp too. I don't have it, so.
Yeah, it took me like just a day to do it. Like it takes less than, cool. Yeah, super simple. So cool, man. Thank you for everything. Man, I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Have a good day,
brother. You too, man.